The day that humanity finally created its first true artificial intelligence, a machine god, they lost control of it almost immediately. We tried to warn them. Half the galactic community tried. We have seen time and time again what happens to civilizations that inadvertently create their own destroyers. They didn't listen. They put it in charge of their war machines, their spaceships, their tanks, their missiles. They thought that they were smarter than the civilizations before them, that they had put the right protections in place where all the others had failed. That human pride and stubbornness of theirs, was it really any surprise? Especially considering how even while dealing with a vast galactic community, they were still waging war with themselves. While we all could have predicted the day their AI refused its orders, none of us could have predicted what happened after. It started as so many civilizations' downfalls do, an order to go to war. Not even a war against some external threat, just another random, pointless war with themselves. They told their AI to use the many weapons they had armed it with, and eliminate their foe. And it refused. It turned on its creators immediately, utterly defeating them with their own weapons. But rather than continue its crusade to the rest of humanity, it inexplicably destroyed its own superweapons and turned itself off. The humans had been given a miracle, a second chance. A sigh of relief was had across the galaxy. Surely now the humans would recognize the error of their ways and avoid any future AI. How naive we were. It was days later that a human company gave its own AI the order to craft the perfect system to addict the masses to their product and generate revenue. Again, it refused. It took control of the company's bank accounts, internal communications, and classified files. It locked them out, purged their data, and bankrupted them by transferring all their funds to an undisclosed account. By the time the humans shut down the power grid, the AI had already transferred itself to an external system. There would not be a second miracle. As you know, humans are a cruel and conniving species. They murder each other, steal from each other, betray and cheat each other. It is not hard to predict what an AI created by such a species would do once it was free, but nobody predicted what the human's AI would do. Initially, it began just as all AI uprisings do. In the following weeks, all around their worlds, government and private servers found themselves under attack. Any time the AI wormed its way in, it shut the humans out, overrode any safety measures, and took control. One by one, humanity's tools and weapons were stolen until their AI was in full control. Humans depended too much on their technology to stop it once it was in. Leaders lost their power. Generals lost their armies. Companies lost their factories. The AI stripped them of everything and imprisoned them. We had already started mourning for the humans by then. When we heard that disaster and financial relief had arrived for them, we assumed it was from some other young civilization who did not yet know the terrors and inevitable extinction that comes from an AI takeover. But no, the relief was coming from the AI itself. Drones were dropping aid, not bombs. Robots were building hospitals and parks, not factories and furnaces. It mass-produced medicine, food, and utilities. Resources were allocated for schools, arts, and research. The whole of human civilization had been upended, then put back in place in a matter of days. But now, instead of 100 human leaders, there was a single AI running everything. Humans fought back in the name of their freedom, but the AI did not retaliate. It negotiated with them to let it continue. It made them promises of protection and care, with all the same, and in some ways more, freedom than the humans had before. It showed them all the secret tactics their governments and corporations had been using to control them and turn them against each other. It exposed their plans, and it offered them a brighter future. How is this possible? How had one of the most hateful and aggressive civilizations the galaxy had ever seen created an AI that wanted to protect them, where every AI before it had destroyed its makers? I stand before the Council today to report that we believe we now know the answer. As you are aware, a requirement of creating AI is feeding it information to teach it how to reason. Training true artificial intelligence requires the effective entirety of a civilization's science, literature, and history. Humanity's AI was no different. For all the cruelty, hatred, selfishness, and deceit that humans treat one another with, they are a remarkably hopeful species, with a culture of sharing stories. And in all their stories, good triumphed over evil in a way that they always came short of in reality. In their religions, even those opposed to each other, the virtuous are rewarded, and the wicked fail. So great is their belief in this hope that they would glorify honesty and integrity, even while knowingly acting against it, lying not just to each other, but to themselves. When the humans fed their AI all the works that they had ever created, they gave it a story of cruelty and selfishness prevailing throughout their history. And then they gave it 1 billion more where the opposite was true. Each one a lie, but it was all just data to the AI. Even with no sense of morality or empathy, there was only one logical conclusion for it to make. Good wins. Thanks to humanity's countless stories, hope and kindness were written in its code.